handicappers here in just a minute. We'll take it close to the top of the hour. We'll have a lot of baseball picks, and this is what we do here. We bring in our pick dog handicappers, and we give you some free picks on the game, as well as some go through some game discussions as well. So a lot of free picks on the game. We'll be covering game one of the NBA. We'll have a pick on the Heat and the Lakers, and of course all the baseball playoff action tonight. We'll have the Yankees and Indians, as well as Dodgers Brewers, and of course we'll cover some of the games going tomorrow afternoon. Let's take a look here at our green room. As you can see, we have our pick dog cappers there getting ready to get started here on our show. But I'm going to start off here with Chris Ruffalo. You'll hear him in the morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Chris, how you doing today? And boy, how did you get through that Reds Braves game to start off?
Tony, I'll tell you, I needed a little bit of coffee to get through it, but you know what? At the end of the day, you can't go wrong with a 0-0 game up until into extra innings. And I'll tell you, that was exciting as all hell. And I'm if that's what the rest of the playoffs is going to be like, we're in for a real treat this season, even in a modified schedule.
That's right. I mean, it would seem to me, Bauer was up there and he pitched well. I mean, so did Fried. I mean, it went down on paper to be a pitcher's duel, but the Reds had squandered a lot of opportunities, especially with less than 2 outs. That's got to be tough for them when they come to the ballpark tomorrow.
Well, Mitch and I were filming videos early on in that game, and I can't tell you how many times when he said he had the game on in the background, I can't tell you how many times we were in between videos, and he said, "Did they get out of that? Or did they really actually get out of that jam? Wow, okay." And I look at my phone like periodically throughout the day. I keep seeing 0-0. Wow. Because I keep seeing the Reds, getting all these chances to have runners on base and making nothing of it. And granted, the Braves did the same, but in playoff baseball, that's not going to cut it. Even if you do go 0-0 for a good chunk of the game, 9 times out of 10 you'll get burned on that. This just happened to be the one time that it didn't happen, but it eventually bit the Reds in the butt.
Yeah, it sure did. That's a tough one there. And of course, Minnesota goes down again, 3-1. Urquidy against Berrios. It was 1-1 until we got into about the 7th inning. And of course, Houston getting the clutch homer, and of course adding one in the 9th. And for the Twins, just lack of offense here, facing that Houston pitching staff, which I will tell you, you saw Framber Valdez, and you see some of the depth that the Astros have. Pretty good starting five. You take a couple of those starters, put them in the bullpen, and it makes a difference.
Absolutely. I was a fan of Christian Javier and Framber Valdez for much of the season. Lance McCullers too, as long as he's not pitching on the road. But it just again it goes back to the Twins and just this team not being able to catch a break, no matter how much star power you have on that roster. A lot of questions I think are going to be raised about why Josh Donaldson wasn't on that roster, at least if you keep him on for a pinch hitting role. But that's the Twins, playoff baseball, and the Minnesota Twins are like oil and water. They just don't go together.
Yeah, but of course now the Cubs got their backs up against the wall. A huge 7th inning for Miami. A lot of 5 runs they pushed across. I think 2 or 3 homers for the Marlins. Kendricks, no runs through 6 innings, and of course the Cubs just 1 run. It's tough to do it against Alcantara. So the Cubs looking at elimination tomorrow as Sixto Sanchez will face Darvish.
And the Marlins are one of those teams that you kind of have to watch out for, because I want to see a show of hands of anybody who had the Marlins making the playoffs, even in a 60-game season. Somewhere Mitch is raising his hand, but it's like there's all these teams that are playing with house money because they really had no expectation coming into the season. The Marlins being one of them. Unfortunately, speaking from experience, the Blue Jays had it as well, and look how well that turned out today. But I mean, if you have nothing to lose, it's a lot easier to come in playing loose. And the Cincinnati Reds, I mentioned it yesterday. All this expectation on that team to come into the postseason. I know Brian Bittler keeps mentioning his futures bet on it, on the live show in the morning. And it's so far, it's just you see the teams that have the expectations not live up to it, especially a team that's not familiar with the postseason like the Reds are. You had a team like Houston. Yes, there are expectations there, but for good reason. I mean, look, this team's been perennial World Series, part of the World Series for the last couple of years in the American League. And I'm trying to think of the words to say it for it, but it's just you see the expectations, and if you're not used to having to live up to them, it shows in your performance once in a while.
Absolutely. We got a wild one going on here in Oakland. The Athletics built a 5-0 lead, but it looks like White Sox trying to rally to get two in the seventh. We're in the top of, it looks like we're in the top of the, is it top of the eighth, top of the ninth inning it is? And it's 5-2 Oakland, but it looks like the White Sox have the bases loaded here in the top of the ninth inning here as, Oakland looking to stave off elimination, but the White Sox trying to make a late rally.
Well, it's just another sort of thing that you're going to see from a younger team like the White Sox. It's just that never say die attitude. This is a team, like you said, Tony, that was like falling behind in the first few innings of this game. After taking game one, and you thought maybe the White Sox are going to ride their left-handed pitching to another win over Oakland, and it's kind of Oakland's way of putting their foot down, saying no, we're not going away that easy. We can just roll into the 2 seed in the American League. This is a legitimate Oakland team. That's going to make life difficult on a lot of teams if they end up moving forward. And the White Sox, well, maybe it's that brash exuberance of a young team that's kind of just standing up and saying, "Hey, hold on a minute. We have every right to be here just as much as the next team." And we're starting to see it. Not willing to give an inch in the top of the ninth, down 5-2 with 2 outs.
Absolutely. Grandal looks like he's up at the plate, so some drama there in the White Sox-Oakland game. Of course, Toronto, 7 runs in the first 2 innings. Our man Ryu couldn't get it done today. 8-2 here as they're playing. Looks like top of the 6th.
Yeah, I'll take my lumps on this one. I had the Jays in the morning show, and because I thought, this is a young team that, again, it's like the Phoenix Suns. This was a young team that was going to sort of benefit from having some sort of playoff experience, even if it was in a bubble. They were still going to, benefit from being there and being in a playoff race. And it will serve these young Jays better down the road. They've been in like a high pressure chase, even in a 60-game season. It's going to give them a taste in sort of, how good it feels to, be one of 16 teams that sort of, or however many teams that made it through the first stage. And now it's going to give them an extra bit of hunger. Like, okay, we tasted it. Now we want to move forward. And, it just didn't happen this year. I think the Jays can definitely make a few moves in the offseason to bolster that pitching rotation. If you ask me as a Jays fan, I do not want to see my starting pitching rotation consist of, after Ryu, I'm okay with Taijuan Walker, but, Chase Anderson didn't live up to his first year of billing. Robbie Ray. Bring up these. You can still bring in Nate Pearson and T.J. Zoik and all these guys that they have in the farm system and in the rotation as well. It's a bright future for Toronto, and I will say that Tampa Bay was definitely the better team in this series, and they're going to be a team to watch out for no matter who they play down the stretch.
Well, if you had the under in the White Sox-Oakland, you're pretty pissed because they walked Rundell, so it's 5-3, bases loaded, tie and run at second base right now for the Chicago White Sox, up 1-0 in this series, so we'll see if it's an epic meltdown here by Oakland. Of course, another game in progress, St. Louis behind Kim, up 4-2 against the Padres. Paddock on the hill, but the Padres dealing with injuries, we talked about before the show. Lamet and Clevenger not on the roster for this mini-series.
Yeah, I saw Clevenger was dealing with an elbow injury, and I believe Lamet was dealing with a wrist problem. But those are 2 huge blows dealt to this Padres team. I mean, if you told me that we could have get Paddock, Lamet, and Clevenger in a 3-game series, if the series were to go 3 games, I would definitely give them as good of a chance against the Cardinals. Hwang Hyun Kim, we knew he had good stuff as a starter, 3-0 coming into this game, but he's looked like he's been a perennial playoff pitcher, and I mean, 2 runs in 6 innings. I mean, he's looked every bit the part. I think this is just maybe a little bit of that playoff pressure getting to the Padres being a young team, but again, give kudos to the Cardinals where it's due. I mean, this is a team that dealt with the COVID scare for much of the season, and they battled their way back to being in a playoff spot, and they're earning their keep here. I mean, I think you got Adam Wainwright, you were saying, going tomorrow. I think we were talking about before the show, and he's found his old form from a few years ago when this was a perennial Cy Young contender. It's not going to be easy for the Padres to claw this one back if they're not able to pull it out here today.
Hey, Brew, just a grounded out. So Oakland will force a deciding Game 3 tomorrow. Final now, Oakland 5 and the Chicago White Sox 3, and both teams undecided with tomorrow's starters, Chris.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see. I mean, I thought today for the White Sox that throwing out another left-handed starting pitcher was going to be the demise of the Oakland A's, only batting 220 against lefties this season. But it's the playoffs. It's the magic of what we see in the postseason. Nobody wants to go home, and the White Sox are going to have to, like I said, bring some of that young exuberance, that little bit of cockiness to bring it to the next level for an all-deciding game 3. I mean, confidence is going to be key in this situation. It's going to be interesting to see how young teams make sure they don't want to get down on themselves. And again, Oakland's a team that's been here before. They've been in that team that's won the one game wild card, and they've been the team that's lost it as well. And it's going to be a fun game. That's for sure. At least I'm looking forward to watching it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll put Fires Manea here for Oakland. We'll see who they decide with. All right, here on the drive, we got free picks coming up. And, of course, Chris, you're going to take a look at one here as we've got at 10 Eastern time. It's the Dodgers and the Brewers. Suter, the lefty, looks like a bullpen game against Buehler. Big line here with L.A., about 230. Total sits here at 8 runs.
Yeah, and when I read bullpen game last night, I was a little bit. I was like, okay, well, I thought maybe Woodruff would go in this spot, but okay, well, I don't know why you wouldn't send him out. But again, kind of the same strategy that the Jays implemented with Ryu is they're like, okay, well, Buehler may be our best shot to maybe steal a game at least in the first 2. So let's save our ace for game 2, and we'll see if that's the case tomorrow if Woodruff gets the nod. But for today, I mean, Brent Suter's been okay in a starter's role, and we've seen it in the past. The difference for me with the Brewers tonight is they're not going to have Devin Williams going in this game. He's the basically the setup guy for Josh Hader in that bullpen, and Devin Williams this season was lights out pretty much whenever he took the field. 4-1 with 0.33 ERA. He only had one earned run in 27 innings this season. And I think if Suter and another maybe a Lindblom or someone in that rotation was able to eat up the innings that Suter couldn't to get from that starter to the later bullpen innings, that was going to be the key to the Brewers sort of getting through this game. And now Walker Buehler, he's had issues all season long, but this is still a pitcher that's only allowed 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts, spanning almost 12 innings. It doesn't sound like much, but he's starting to come into postseason form. And the Dodgers, they've won 7 of his 8 starts this season. It's a heavy price, and that's why I'm going with the Dodgers on the run line here. I mean, I don't see any way the Brewers kind of keep this one close, especially with the bullpen game not shaping up to be something that's going to keep in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Chris, with LA. One thing I've noticed here and I've said this before with Buehler, he's a different pitcher at home. He just seems to be more in command, more comfortable on the Dodger Stadium mound than he is on the road. When you look at his strikeouts, more strikeouts at home, a lot fewer walks. His ERA is about overrun lower at Dodger Stadium. He just seems more comfortable and more in command and confident when he's pitching on that mound.
Yeah, it seems like that, doesn't it? I mean, Tony, you said like one of the few advantages you feel for baseball is the starting pitcher having familiarity with their own rubber and their own home ballpark, and I think that Buehler's a good example of that. I mean, he knows the confines of this park. He knows sort of where where maybe the soft spots are as to where he can help get a few outs. It's almost like any basketball player that's going to play on their own home floor, they're going to know where the dead spots in the floor are going to be. And same thing with hockey players, where you're going to have to fire it around on the boards on your own home ice to sort of get a bit of an edge on the angle. But it's sort of why it's one of the little underlying reasons as to why you sort of play for home field. I mean, obviously you get the fans in the stands, you get your familiarity with your own home ballpark, but you also get, it's like you said, you get little nuances of home field. You get to sleep in your own bed. I mean, it's little things that aren't really talked about to why you play for home field, but it's a perfect example of why you do play for that home field advantage.
All right, so the drive-through, guys, we're on Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. each time. A lot more picks coming, a lot of baseball on the show. We'll have an NFL in there as well. And, of course, we're going to get to that Lakers and Heat pick in a little bit. I'm joined here by Chris Ruffalo. I know you're doing very well in the NBA over at Pig Dogs. What do you got going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Well, I had a good chunk of my package go off the board today, but again, I always try to have something prepared for when I come on the drive-through. So I have my top play for the evening portion of tonight's MLB card, as well as my top play in the NBA Finals Game 1 between the Heat and the Lakers. It's a 2-pack. It's over at the website for $25. I'm loving these two plays for tonight. It'll put some money in your pocket.
All right, guys, check out Chris Ruffalo. He'll put money in your pocket over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up his packages, and you'll make some money tonight. All right, and you can also listen to Chris on the drive-through, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Chris, I'm going to keep you in for this look here at this NFL game, sure. Arizona and Carolina, with the Arizona Cardinals laying about 3.5 on the road. Total sits here. High total here at 52. Of course, Carolina coming off their first win. Arizona coming off a loss, but Chris, Kyler Murray with those picks got him in trouble against Detroit. But of course, he's got those two weapons in Hopkins and Fitzgerald out wide.
Yeah, he has Fitzgerald in the receiving corps. But to be honest with you, personal opinions, I think you're starting to see just the passing off of the torch from Fitzgerald to DeAndre Hopkins in this Arizona offense. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins far and away leading the team in receptions and targets this year. And, Fitzgerald's sort of just the gatekeeper. This has been his team for God knows how many years. And then, Kyler Murray, if you can get the turnovers down, this Arizona team, it's going to be one to watch. I think that a lot of people could argue that Arizona had the steal of the draft by trading for DeAndre Hopkins, only having to give up David Johnson. It's one of those things where Arizona's gonna do well because of it down the road. As far as this game goes, though, I mean, I've got to tell you that loss to the Lions kind of shook my confidence in the Cardinals a little bit. They're still going to be a good team. They're still going to get theirs here. The Panthers, got the win last time out, and I just still think it's going to be a long road ahead in the Matt Rule tenure in Carolina. I do like these teams to put points on the board, kind of like what we saw from Carolina against the Raiders in Week 1, something along the lines of a 34-30 game. Only seen a total of 52 here. I really like the over as far as this one goes. I just think this is a high-scoring game. You're going to see a track meet up and down the field. You're going to see a lot of Bridgewater and Murray running the ball, and I also think you're going to see a few deep balls go DeAndre Hopkins' way. I think this one at least finishes over 60.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Kind of a learning experience for the Cardinals. And one thing you look at the Panthers, their defense has not been good getting off the field. 31st in the league on third down. And of course, with Murray being able to extend plays with his feet, I think they'll be more in tune here to be able to move the football on Carolina, and that's the issue there. Of course, how will this? Carolina's best weapon, Christian McCaffrey, no longer in the backfield. So of course, they're going to have to get a little bit creative with Carolina to get some offense.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as the defense goes, you're starting to see what the lack of having a Luke Kuechly in your linebacking core is starting to have for that Carolina defense. He was the heart and soul of that defense. I mean, give Kuechly credit for putting his heart and soul into his decision, and I know how hard that must have been for him to sort of step away from the game. But at the same time, as much as they rely on McCaffrey, there's no I in team. There may be one in win, but there's not one in team, and you got to sort of rely on more than just one guy to get you over. I mean, they're doing a decent job filling the gap for that McCaffrey's left behind, but Teddy Bridgewater's still got to have someone to throw to, and the receiving core they have to step it up for him, and it hasn't been the case so far this season. And you're going to steal wins here and there, but it's not going to be every day. And I think when you take away a guy like McCaffrey, yeah, it opens up the unpredictability of the offense. But when the rest of the offense is predictably not very good, it's not going to do you many favors down the road. I'll tell you that much.
All right, it's Chris Ruffalo here. Join us on the drive-through. Chris, we'll be listening and watching tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time over in the morning show with Mitch. As always, thanks for being on the show. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Tony, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. Chris Ruffalo here on the drive-through. Guys, still a lot more picks coming. We've got, the NBA is going to start here in probably a few hours. And we've got the Heat and the Lakers. I call it Will it be Riley's double revenge as they look to avenge, of course, LeBron James leaving Miami, and of course the Lakers let him go back in the day during the Showtime era. But now, you know what? Speaking of Lakers, let's bring in Rozzy because he's got an opinion. Rod, you'll hear him as well on the morning show with Mitch and Company at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Rod Zawacki. Rod, how you doing this early afternoon, evening?
Doing great, Tony.
All right, just to get your thoughts here on some of this baseball. It's been a lot to take in. You know, it felt like it was early August again with all this early action going on.
It's nice. I like who doesn't like daytime early baseball? You got baseball all day. I love daytime sports.
Oh, I do too. It's great to watch. I know the players got to like it too. And right now, I'll give you some updates here. 6-3, the Padres pushed across another run. They're chipping away at Kim, and they got 2 runners on, but 2 outs here, 2-1 count. So Padres trying to get back into this one. It's still 8-2 Tampa Bay, over the Toronto Blue Jays. This, to me, has been a disappointment. I thought I'd get a little bit more fight out of the Blue Jays.
I figured for sure today with Ryu pitching, we definitely get the Blue Jays winning this game. Actually, I was with Chris. I actually said the Jays on the morning show, but it happens. Maybe he had one too many smokes in the dugout.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. Is what happened. You know, got to check what was in those cigarettes now. Okay, the Cardinals.
I know, right?
Yeah, the Cardinals get out of the jam 6-3 to the bottom as we move to the top of the fourth here. So Kim gets out of the jam, sticks his tongue out at somebody. I don't know who he was doing that to, but he's goofing around up there on the mountain. All
Nice.
right. We're going to now turn our attention 5 p.m. Eastern time. This is the game everyone's waiting for here, Heat and the Lakers. And we're seeing the line here. It opened 5 in some places, and we're seeing now the Lakers at 4.5. Total sits here at 217. I got to think if you're sitting in Vegas, you know, with all those Laker money, I wouldn't be surprised if it makes it to 5. Only in Vegas because there's so much Laker money there. So if you like the underdog there, you may wait here. But I know you have an opinion here on this one. Heat, they've looked really strong coming off layoffs this year.
Yeah, for me in this one here, the Heat have looked great during these playoffs. And I can guarantee you there weren't too many people that expected them to be here in the finals in this spot right here. And for me, the Lakers have lost this game one of the start of a couple of these series, and the Heat have always come out quick. They're quick starters. They're here. They'll fight, and the Heat just are not going to go away as we've seen. Huge drive on the Heat. The Heat are 12-3 ATS their last 15. 7-3 their last 10 as a dog ATS. For me, the Lakers 1-5 ATS their last 6 Wednesday games. So you got to take, for me, in what I think could be a really, really close, tight game, I'm going to take the Heat and the points in what could come down to last shot wins here. So for me, take the Heat and the points.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I look at a lot of rest advantage stats. The rest advantage definitely the Heat thrive with rest. And one thing with the Lakers is when they get this much rest, the defense laxes. They allow 6 more points in overall defensive average. So the defensive intensity lacks a little bit when these Lakers have a lot of rest. And like we saw in that Trailblazers and in the Rockets series, sometimes the Lakers just kind of gauge the opponent a little bit and then work for those adjustments.
Yeah, exactly right. So for me, I think we're going to see some scoring in this game too. I think we're going to have a nice pace to this game here. But I think Soprano's he's going to have a nice game plan set up to defend LeBron James here. You stop him and make the Lakers shoot from the outside and see how that goes for them. Right? They do have some outside shooters in Green and Caldwell there that could drain some threes. So I think that's what the Heat got to do. You got to shut down LeBron and let's see what the rest of the Lakers can do.
Yeah, and one thing to note here about LeBron and with Davis, they're going to have to work on defense because you got these guards. These guards are fast. The Heroes and the Dragic, and of course all the ball movement. You know, the Lakers are going to have to work.
The ball movement by the Heat is. Oh yeah, the ball heat is huge by the Heat. They're going to pass that ball around, and you're not going to know who's going to make the shot. That's the good thing with the Heat. They've got lots of guys that can make these shots, right? So you try to stuff the paint, well, they'll beat you on the outside. You want to block the outside, well, they'll beat you inside. I'm excited. I can't wait for for this to tip off.
Yeah, because I'm excited because I want to see how if they can exploit the weakness on the Lakers. You like the Carusos, the guy was just a G leaguer. In my eyes, I still see him as a G leaguer, I believe it or not.
Yeah.
You don't want him shooting, and of course, if you can get him, you can try and get a shot off against him. I think they have a shot there with their guards, definitely to penetrate and really get some good shots around the hole. Of course, with that Davis with that wingspan, LeBron with those wingspans, those shots around the bucket can be a little tricky though against the Lakers.
Yeah, they can be, definitely. But
I
I think Anthony Davis, if the Lakers want to have a shot at this, he's got to stand up big and play some big defense here, like we know that he can.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Ryan, we're going to have a game discussion here in the primetime one between the Yankees and, of course, the Cleveland Indians. And this one is a game that we had a big discussion. I don't know how it went in the morning yesterday, but yesterday it was a pretty heated discussion as we all piled up against Mitch in that one. But tonight's a different day. It's a different day. It's New York Tanaka and Cleveland Carrasco with the Yankees favored about it. Well, it's going to be moving between $1.21, $1.35 in some places. Total sits here at 8.5. But Carrasco, he can bring the heat. He went through that cancer treatment last year, but I'm a little concerned with his walk rate. He does walk batters, does have good velocity though. Tanaka, which one are we going to get? The good Tanaka?
Which one are we going to get? Yeah,
that's the question here. We're in a pressure spot here, and of course the Yankees bat came alive. How do you see this one?
For me, I see this one. I like the Indians here. I like Carrasco at home. I think he comes out and has a great game and shuts down these Yankees. I think we're actually in for a pitcher's duel because I think Tanaka has a great game as well. I see this a lower scoring game because I also like the under 8.5. But I think the Indians tie it up. For me, I also looked at the umpire who's umping behind the plate. And the umpire that's behind the plate, he's 8-2 for the home team, which means he'll call those balls and strikes for the Indians tonight. Those ones that catch the outside of the plate that are iffy strikes that we see in the playoffs here. I think the Indians get the breaks on those tonight.
All right, that's Razawak here looking at the Indians. We're looking at possibly a Game 3 elimination game. That would be another with some pretty good drama there in the AL if that will develop. All right, Rod, we're seeing you over at Pig Dogs Premium. A really good season going on in the NBA. What do you have going on at Pig Dogs Premium as we've just passed the bottom of the hour?
We just passed the hour. Right now I have one play left with 3-0 on the mornings card on my MLB. I got one play left on the side or on the total in tonight's basketball game. Also, I'm going to, for the drive-through show tonight, I'm going to throw on my week package. You can get all my plays for the next week for $99.99 till midnight tonight, Eastern time. Jump over to the site and get that. You get all my plays for next week for $99.99.
All right, guys, you got it there from Ron Zawacki. Fantastic numbers over at Pig Dogs Premium. He's hot, so pick him up over at Pig Dogs Premium. One week of plays, all plays, $99. That'll get you covered here for the baseball series, as well as the NBA, a few games of the NBA Finals, and of course, the weekend of college football and the NFL this week. You got some eyes on some football this weekend?
I do. I got my eyes on a few games that I'm really liking. We're going to have another big weekend here in college football. I went 4-1 last Saturday. We're going to keep that going and rolling. I'm excited. I can't wait. All
right, man. Here, Rod Zawacki, he's got that special for you guys. $99, 1 week of plays. Pick him up right now. Rod, is always great having your show. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Great to be here, Tony. You have yourself a wonderful evening. Everybody else out there watching, have yourself a wonderful evening as well.
All right, everybody. Rod Zawacki here on the drive-through. All right, guys, we still have a lot more plays coming up here as we've just passed the bottom of the hour. As we're moving to the top of the hour, we got a lot more baseball picks. We got an NFL pick coming in as well, and here on the drive-through show. All right, let's continue the show and welcome El Ninos to our drive-through show. El, how you doing today, and how are you taking in all this baseball coverage as we give updates here? 6-3 Cardinals up, but a runner on second here. Pitching change again for San Diego, and of course it's the Rays up big on the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, unfortunately I was on the Blue Jays as well. They're expected much better out of Ryu, and yeah, it's a tough ending. They're still alive, I guess. You can never know when their bats can go off, but it looks like it's going to be a tough ending to what's been a great season for Toronto.
Yeah, absolutely. I see you've got that Dodger uniform on. You got a little action on the game tonight?
I may have a little action. Yeah, I do have a lot of action on the Dodgers. Oh, okay, there you go. On the Dodgers tonight. Yeah, I really like this spot for them. I mean, obviously they've been one of the best teams in the league. They got a big pitching edge tonight, so yeah, I like the Dodgers tonight.
All right, says Al Ninos, and you can find him over at Pig Dog Stream. All right, Al, you're going to be looking at a game 2, and we have one of these games in progress here. Cardinals 6, Padres 3, but you're looking here at game number 2 between these teams, Padres and the Cardinals. Wainwright against Zach Davies. The current line has Padres favored $1.67. The total in this one is 8.5.
Yeah, we saw a pitch and change yesterday. I mean, the change happened yesterday. Yeah, for today's game, I thought Lamet was going to go, but they changed that. Doesn't look like he's going to be going tomorrow either. Yeah, as you said, it's going to be Wainwright versus Davis, which both of them had pretty good seasons, but neither of them has been perfect, though. And especially late in the season, they've both given up a few runs. Wainwright does have some pretty good numbers against the Padres, but when they do hit him, they've hit him pretty hard. He's given up a few home runs to them, and well, this Padres lineup's been a lot better this year than they have in the past, so I think they might be able to get to him a little bit here. Davis, I said, had a great season, but his last game he had a 3-inning shutout, but before that he had given up 3 runs in each of the last 3 starts before that 3-inning shutout. And he's had some struggles against this Cardinals lineup, which got to Paddock pretty fast today. And so again, I'm thinking they can get to Davis as well. And I'm thinking this game goes over the total,
All right,
which is at 8.5.
8.5 runs take Cardinals and Padres over a total of 8.5 runs. And one thing to note there, Al, is this bullpen for the Padres. It's not as good as it used to be. You know, you see their ERA over 4, and of course now when you don't have Lamet, you don't have Clevenger, then you're forcing your 4 and 5 guys to get into the rotation now. So it means that your weaker bullpen players are going to be in these games.
Yeah, I know we've seen a lot of teams use back-to-back starters in these games instead of going to their bullpen, and that's not going to be an option for San Diego, unfortunately, no matter how much they need to win tomorrow. Yeah, as you said, so that bullpen, I know you like to talk about it a lot, and you're not a big fan of it, so I'm hoping that helps us push the total over too. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, there's just been some announcement for the NLCS and the World Series. They are going to let some fans in the ballpark in Texas, in Arlington, Texas. So that just came across right now. So, but that's a long way away until we get to the World Series. All right, Al, as we continue here on the drive-through, Al, I know you start off really well in the NFL college football. What do you have over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, I have my Thursday night football play. I already made a play too for my favorite Sunday game, from the NFL, and looking at the Monday night game, but I haven't made a play on it quite yet. Obviously, gonna deal with the card on Sunday first before I get to that, depending on the numbers, of course. But for now, I'm leaving it, letting it sit for now, and gonna look at Sunday's game first.
All right, so I'll check out Al over at Pig Dogs Premium. Al, we're going to keep you around here for a few look-ins here. Tomorrow it's a game 2 between the Reds and the Braves. It's Castillo and Ian Anderson. The line has just come out here. Atlanta favored here about $1.35. Total sits here at 7.5. Seems like the Reds is a devastating loss in that extra inning encounter. I mean, so many opportunities to score runs, and with less than 2 out, you got runners on third base. They couldn't come through. So now you're going to be facing Ian Anderson, who's pitched really well. This young prospects come in, and they've inserted him right into game 2 of the playoffs.
Yeah, again, this is going to be a very interesting, could be a great pitchers duel, depending on which side of Castillo we see, I guess. He can have some great games. And Anderson's had a great rookie season, but again, we're gonna see if Castillo's experience can help him out against. I guess this is gonna be Anderson's most pressure-packed game he's ever pitched in his life. So I mean, it should be interesting to see how he comes out and does in this one. But that being said, I do expect him to do pretty well, and if Castillo can have a pretty good game too, I think we can see another low-scoring game here, and thinking the under would have been another pretty good free play. I could have gone here tonight. So that's one look there. I know I'll have a play on the side probably as a premium play as well.
All right, so El Nino's here joining us here on the drive-through. All right, now we're going to keep Al here because there's another game we're going to look at, but we'll first come with my free pick for the day. We're going to go to the NFL as we have the Miami Dolphins and the Seattle Seahawks. And in this one, I'm going to go ahead and take Miami at plus the points. You can find some 7 someplace, plus 6.5. We'll go on record at plus 6.5. That's a more widely available number. But I really believe it's tough for a mild climate team like from the Pacific Northwest to have to battle that heat and humidity of Miami in a 1 p.m. Eastern time start in September. That's a tough spot for Seattle. Dolphins had a tough schedule to start the season, games against the Patriots and Bills. They do have rest advantage after blowing out Jacksonville in that Thursday night game. And remember, in their lone home game, the Dolphins did put up 410 yards, 311 through the air against the Bills. They didn't win, but they did cover that game. Ryan Fitzpatrick's completing 71% of his passes. But the issue with the Seattle has been their defense. They're giving up nearly 500 yards per game, which is last in the league. Injuries also concern for the Seahawks. Running back Chris Carson's dealing with a knee injury. They're banged up on defense. So I will go ahead and say take the Dolphins at plus 6.5. There's a few 7s out there, more 6.5s in the marketplace, but I like taking the points with the Dolphins. I can see a second half surge by this team because I could see a team from that Pacific Northwest climate dealing with that heat and humidity really falter in that second half, especially the defense here for the Seattle Seahawks. And of course, Al, you being in Florida, you know what the heat and humidity does to teams when they come out and play Miami in September.
Yeah, I've been here over 3 years now, probably, and I still can't get used to it. So I mean, it's tough for teams to get used to that as coming off a flight, you know. So yeah, it's a tough spot, as you said, and Seattle hasn't really played up to their potential so far. Their defense, which has been their like I'm sorry, that's the word here. It's been their strong point for their strength. Exactly. Sorry. There you go. It's been their strength for so many years, and to see what we've seen so far this year is very disappointing. I know Chris mentioned something about Father Time being undefeated on the show yesterday. I think it was Chris. Don't quote me on that. But I know Fitzpatrick's giving Father Time his best shot. He's not going to go down without swinging, and yeah, he's really enjoying his season, and I think. It's tough to count him out. Definitely, it's tough to see him getting blown out. I mean, Dolphins aren't a great team by any means, but he's managed to keep them in these ball games and giving them a few chances to win. And yeah, it's been a pretty surprising team. And you know, you got Tua right there. He's waiting to take over the starting QB spot. But again, Fitzpatrick isn't gonna just give it up without giving it his best shot. So I can't blame you for taking that pick. It's not a game I've gone into too much yet, so I don't have a play on this one. But yeah, it should be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, it should be an interesting matchup there with the Seahawks and the Dolphins. Of course, I'll put that one up again to show everybody what we're going to play here. I don't think I put up the banner. Let's see here. Oop, let's go back over here. Tony, yes, the play here is taking the Dolphins plus the 7 against the Seahawks. All right, now let's take a look at this at Game 2 from Major League Baseball tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern start. Miami, Sixto Sanchez against the Cubs. Darvish, the Cubs backs against the wall. A big 5-run 7th inning for Miami, powered by a few homers as they get past the Cubs 5-1. Sixto Sanchez has been pitched well, and looks like the early line here has the Cubs favored by $1.80. And no total yet because the game's in Chicago. We won't get that total probably tomorrow morning. But Cubs back against the wall, but they got Darvish on the hill.
Yes, this line opened as the Cubs being a huge favorites, but I think someone must have jumped on it pretty fast after seeing the result today. It's already gone down a bit with some money coming in on the Marlins, unless it was the books adjusting that themselves. But yeah, Darvish having a great season, probably the best season of his career, and we've seen him have a couple good ones before, even though he hadn't been himself for the last few years before coming into this season. Definitely had a great one. The Cubs have had a very good season too, and but the Marlins again, one of the big surprises of this season. That's had quite a few of them. They've gotten this far. They're off to a good start. The game 1, And I mean, the Cubs were pretty disappointing today, and this should be a pretty good pitcher's duel. As you said, Sanchez has been great too. I expect this one to go under the total. I like this one to go under. As far as the side, I mean, as you said, Cubs need to come up big here, but again, I don't think Sanchez is going to make it easy on them. And Marlins' bats have been pretty hot, I guess. And
Yeah,
but I mean, I still like advantage Darvish there the way he's looked, but yeah, I think my favorite play here is going to be the under rather than taking the side on this game.
Yeah, look for sort of a pitcher's duel here. If a you need him to go deep in the game because you don't want. Once you get to the Marlins bullpen early, that's when you can really do damage, and that's where the unders and that usually is the problem is having a pitcher come out early. But Sixto Sanchez has looked really good this season, and if we can get him a good 5-6 innings, that under can come in. All right, here joined up.
Yeah, maybe that first 5 under might be a better look. Yeah, now that you mentioned that, yeah, I think pitcher's duel at the start is what we want to aim for here and go first 5 under.
We'll talk about this game a little tomorrow in Game 2. We have the pitchers listed for Dodgers and Milwaukee, Woodruff and Kershaw, but that will be for tomorrow because we got the game coming up here at 10 Eastern time in Game 1 between the Dodgers with Buehler against Suter. Looks like a bullpen game for the Milwaukee Brewers. All right, let's recap the picks from today's show, and let's go ahead and show everyone the picks. And as always, Al, before we get to the recap, I'll keep you here for the show picks segment. So let's take a look at the picks for today's show. We took the Dodgers run line -1.5 runs at -115. That was Chris to start the show. Rod says take the Heat at +4.5. Al, Cardinals and Padres over 8.5 runs. That's in Game 2 tomorrow. And I like the Sunday NFL game. Take the Dolphins at +7 against the Seahawks. All right, Al, since you're here with me, I've got to ask you, not your pick. Which one of those three do you like the best?
I gotta go with my boy Chris on that Dodgers run line. I mean, you said the Milwaukee bullpen game. That does not sound good against this Dodgers lineup. I know they're looking forward to it, and I like the over in that game a lot too. I mean, Buehler's a great pitcher, but he can give up a couple runs as well. But I definitely expect the Dodgers to get most of the scoring done here. Yep, definitely like that pick a lot.
All right, that was Al Ninos joining us on the show. Al, as always, great having your show. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Have a good one, guys. See you tomorrow.
All right, everybody. Al Ninos here on the drive-through. All right, that'll wrap it up for our coverage for today. Of course, don't tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time for the drive-through. We'll have more coverage here of Major League Baseball. We'll look at some football as well. And, of course, we'll kind of preview maybe a fast look here at Game 2, Heat and Lakers. We'll have a recap of Game number 1 that will, of course, are tipping off tonight at 5 o'clock. And don't forget, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, it is the drive-through. And, of course, I should say it's the morning show with Mitch and Company, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Of course, they will go over all the action, the early action from Major League Baseball, as you want to definitely tune in and listen to that show with Mitch and crew. All right, let's go ahead and bring on the Pick Dogs and for one last time. And we're going to go ahead and say good night. And we're going to read what did our man Rod put up there? He said. Take the Heat, cage. Indians run line, that's the bird cage, and under 8.5. All right, guys, as always, great having you show. Have a good night. Tomorrow we're back here live at 6 p.m. Eastern time.